What's going on, everyone? My name is Nick Cohen, and welcome to the season finale, episode 12 of HTF Off-Season, where the grind never stopped. In this episode, we will be talking about the NBA Summer League Championship. A team won. Hint, hint. And after that, we will be starting talking about the Olympics. Now, unfortunately, this is the season finale, so with the Olympics starting tonight, we won't be talking about him for the next month. But when we come back in the fall, as you'll hear me say multiple times throughout the show, we will be recapping it in the fall in about a month. So you'll want to tune in then. And then segment 3, we will be playing Dudes Naming Dudes Olympic edition, and not just naming dudes, and also not all of us are going to be dudes. So you'll just have to stay tuned for that. You won't want to miss this entire show because the season finale of HTF Off-Season starts now. All right, welcome to segment 1, where we're going to be talking about the NBA 2K25 Summer League and the championships, everything that went down. But first of all, I'm joined by two very special guests, NBA aficionado Patrick Previty and another NBA aficionado and Miami Heat fan making his off-season debut, Andrew Gregg. How's your summer been?
My summer's been great, especially because the Heat won the Summer League championship. That's all that really matters. Everyone knows that the NBA championship doesn't matter. The Celtics won that, so that doesn't matter. As long as we win the Summer League, that's all we need. So my summer's been amazing so far.
Absolutely. And Patrick, how have you been since the last time we saw you?
Well, I'm doing great. We're just throwing around the title NBA aficionado now. So apparently Andrew Gregg has it. Him being a Miami Heat fan seems to be,
Oh, instant quality.
contradictory to the NBA aficionado title, but that is okay. Also, shout out, I know Summer League champs, that is a big deal. Your summer must be going great if that is the highlight of it.
Absolutely. Well, probably better than yours because aren't you a Milwaukee Bucks fan, Patrick?
I'm a Magic guy. I'm a
Okay,
Magic
okay.
guy.
Well, the
Rough
Bucks
life.
And the
do
Gary
not
Trent
do so
Jr.
well.
signing, man, that was a steal.
Yeah. Yeah, well, in the Summer League, the Bucks, the Hawks, and the Pelicans did not win a single game, which is quite embarrassing. And only one team did not lose a game. Do you know who that team was, Andrew?
Miami Heat.
Yep, exactly. We won the championship 120 to 118. It went to overtime, and Summer League rules, it's basically whatever the score was at the end of the fourth quarter plus 7. So first team to score 7 points seems kind of easy, but anywho, Heat won.
And
Some of
it's Heat
the stat
basketball.
lines from that game was Kello
Ware
Ware
running the floor,
had
and the
21
first round
points
pick
and 10
throws it down.
rebounds.
Delano
Williams, 21 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds.
Williams with a cross-court pass broken up but deflected right to Slider, and he knocks down a now a cross-court feed to an open Christopher, and he buries a three. How about the fact that Alonzo Williams
had 24 points.
Pippen driving, left for Jamison. Boy, Pippen
That's all for the Heat.
off the mark on the three.
Pretty
Offensive
nice
rebound.
stat
Pippen
lines
gets it
for the
back
Summer
out.
League.
Jackson will
And
try
then
again.
for the
Down to
Memphis Grizzlies,
5.
who they defeated
Pippen right
in
there
the
with him.
championship game.
Christopher with 2.
Scottie Pippen
Long
Jr.
three.
had 29
It's
points,
good.
10
A
assists,
step
5
back
rebounds,
switch home
4
three to
steals,
get
and 2 blocks, just absolutely balled out. Jake LaRavia had
Larson on the
32
catch.
points, 6
Guarded by
rebounds,
Pippen.
and G.G.
Shot clock at
Jackson had
12.
28
Ware with the
points.
screen. Larson keeps the bounce.
So,
Running shot. It's
yeah.
good.
Here's
Miami
my
wins it. Kellen Larson gets it done for the Heat.
It's just Heat culture that if their defense was locked down. Granted, it did go into overtime, so it wasn't like that good. But Andrew, tell me a little bit about that game.
So, like as you were saying, our lockdown defense was kind of a stellar Miami Heat culture. I think that a lot of these guys are representative of just the Miami Heat in general, as we have like one of the best defenses in the league, which makes up for our stagnant offense at times. But the player that I wanted to talk about specifically, if I can jump right into it, is
Absolutely.
Josh Christopher. And he's been one of our best players all of summer league. Obviously, we had Jaime Jaquez play and our Kalel Ware, our first rounder, who, if I do say so myself, could be a Heat future Hall of Famer. But I mean, I don't want
It
to get too
does
far
give
ahead of
those
myself.
vibes a little bit.
But Josh Christopher had an amazing summer league. He averaged almost 20 points a game. He averaged 19 points a game, and he also averaged 2 steals throughout the summer league in 6 games. So he bounced around the league between the Rockets and also the Jazz G League affiliates, and also played for the Heat G League affiliates. And he averaged 17 points in the G League. So it's kind of to be expected that he's playing similar competition and putting out similar outputs. But the fact that he can get his own shot is kind of what really stood out to me, because if you watch the Heat play basketball, you know that it's kind of stagnant on offense and really good defense, kind of like classic Miami Heat culture. But the game is evolving, and you can't just have you can't win games 101 to 95 every single game. You need somebody that can get their own shot. And Jimmy Butler can't be the only player on the team who can do that. And obviously Bam can get his own shot at times too. But in general, Jimmy Butler consistently, and maybe Tyler Hero, are like the only two players who can really go to like their spot and get a shot. So adding someone like Josh Christopher to the roster, whether it is like on a two-way contract, having him play on both Miami Heat and our G League affiliate, or maybe having him as a solid rotational guy, I think that he's a solid offensive threat and could be like a great pickup if we sign him to either a two-way contract or maybe even have him as a regular guy, because we saw in the summer league that he can really get his own shot, and offensively he's something that we need in like our offense, because a big man is something that we were really lacking, and I'm so glad that we got Khalil Ware. But even besides that, even besides the size of Khalil Ware, I think that we also need somebody who can consistently get their own shot. And if we could have him, Terry Rozier coming off the bench, getting like massive buckets like that, that would be amazing for our offense and could really take us to the next level, I'd say. So
Absolutely. I mean, I think Drew Smith should be shaking in his boots. He's on a two-way contract with us, I think. I don't think he's on a real contract, but
no, he's
um
not.
our summer pretty much I could think of like 7 players from the summer league roster who deserve a spot more than him. And Josh
Yeah.
Christopher is certainly one of them. And Pele Larson, our second round pick, also showed out in that game. Patrick, do you have any takeaways from that game?
Well, I don't want to like rain on the parade, and I certainly think
Oh
that
boy.
the Miami Heat are no, no, no. I certainly think that the Miami Heat are the best in the NBA at finding the guys at the very end of the roster, the end of the bench to kind of like round out their lineup, and they probably just found another one. But I just wanted to say that the Summer League, and I know that y'all aren't actually, gonna take it as like the greatest thing ever, but I just thought it was funny that whenever they were hoisting the Summer League trophy and like everything, all the spectacle was like going on. It just reminded me of like whenever you sim your My League for like 20 years and you don't really recognize anybody, and like some guy that is like was a rookie like in the current years averaging like 25 points per game, and he's got like 7 rings. You don't really recognize these teams, so
What a niche analogy.
it
No,
doesn't really
totally. Like
matter.
that's so accurate.
But like it's good to have though, and like you said, there were some teams that went winless, and there were some teams that had decent players and got kind of hurt. So there's been worse summer leagues, worse off seasons, but just take it with a grain of salt.
I think that's a good way of putting it. But you know what? Some of these teams, and I've had this opinion for a while, some of these teams that like have built have had great seasons, their fans instantly just their expectations go through the roof. And so Heat fans are victim to that. So when we don't do much in an off season, we get furious at the organization for not doing anything. And so I think that was another thing that happened this off season. So we have to celebrate when we can, but you put that perfectly. Um, and so that was the championship game. It was a great game. The Warriors and the Clippers lost in the semifinals to obviously the Heat and the Grizzlies, respectively. Of the Clippers, um, Jordan Miller, he had an
Hey,
amazing.
can I jump in here for a second?
Go for it.
Jordan Miller, former University of Miami Hurricane, my
Yep.
dog. He led us to the Final Four that year. I went and saw that game. Shout out Jordan Miller. He averaged 24 points a game. Was first team All Summer League. That's my dog.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate you saying that. He's only 24 years old. He played in 5 games this summer league, and he averaged 25.4 points, 4 rebounds, 2.5 assists. He balled out. And then you had some of the other guys, second-year guys like Brandon Miller of the Hornets and Jaime Hawkins of the Heat, who averaged 26 points and 23 points respectively, but they only played in either 2 or 1 game. So that was a little bit less impressive. But talking about some of the lowlights of the summer league, we have the most talked about rookie, and he wasn't even like a first rounder. Bronny James, you all knew where this was going. He, I don't know, he improved over his last 2 games in the summer league, but in a total of 4 games, he averaged 8.8 points, 3.5 rebounds, and an assist, which isn't awful, especially considering he was taken at the end of the second round. But it's just because of who his father is. Like, people expect him to be so great, and then, or even the people that don't expect him to be great just want to hate on him even more. Patrick, how was his summer league? Did he kind of live up to your expectations of what he would do in the summer league?
Well, my expectations may have been a little different than what everybody else's was. I mean, obviously, I've been watching Summer League and I've been paying attention to the NBA offseason for like I would say 10 years now, since it was almost like since they played in like the gym, the practice gym in Orlando, right? Like, so you got to know like these games are up and down. You have no idea how far the coach is going to go into his bench. Like, is he going to play like 16, 17, 18 guys in one game? How much play time anybody's going to get? It's all over the place. And I think he was a second round pick. And I went into this knowing that he was drafted with, there were only 5 picks after him, I believe. And you just got to know like he's not going to dominate unless like we're talking like some diamond in the rough. And I think he's got potential. We knew he was a work in progress. We knew like, hey, look, he's gonna get some NBA shots and he's gonna get an NBA opportunity, but you could see like a worst case scenario in those first 3 games where he had like some really, really bad shooting percentages. Like he was under like 20%, I think, in the first 3 games, shooting wise. Like you just knew like that had a chance of happening. And I'm not really all that surprised. I'm impressed that he was just able to stick it out. He's dealt with so much adversity, so much criticism, maybe not like actual life adversity as far as like, having to make it out and like, having his dad is like LeBron James. But as far as like everybody looking at what you do under a microscope and him still improving while people had just a wild like array of expectations for him, honestly, I'm happy that he got through it and he showed improvement. We'll see what happens in training camp and we'll see if he ends up playing for them in the first game and then getting sent down to the G League or whatever they like have planned for him. But for him to show that he could improve while the world was kind of watching and felt like, waiting with bated breath to criticize him, I was actually kind of impressed with that.
Good. Yeah. And I think the G League will be the best thing for his progression this year. Stay there pretty much the whole year. LeBron signed a 2-year contract. Play with him after you've been, a little more developed in your second year. Agree, kind of?
I think that there's no doubt that he's a G League player right now. He's not an NBA player, and that's okay. Because he probably realistically, after everything that happened in his first year at USC, probably should have stayed another year. And then we would maybe be having a different conversation just based off of what he could have possibly done, production wise, and then just his health and just natural development over a year. But he's a G League player, and yeah, I agree. It's the best for him because throw him out to the Wolves, especially with Lakers team that's trying to make the playoffs, things could get really, really ugly quick.
100%. And it's not even like just a knock to Bronny. It's like a lot of the second round guys should and
Yeah.
will just be G League players for the first season. So it's not a knock on Bronny. Really quickly before we move on, I want to talk about Kello Ware of the Miami Heat, who we briefly talked about earlier. You know, when we had that, I believe it was the 15th pick in the draft, I have to admit I kind of really wanted Jared McCain, not even just like name value, but we needed a scorer. You know, I don't know necessarily if he has Heat culture, but he would bring a good energy to the locker room. But Kello Ware had 18 points in all six, like averaged 18 points. He played in all 6 summer league games this season and 8.3 rebounds. His highlight reel just from this summer league was really nice, and I'm really looking forward to his rookie season. I really hope that he plays the 5 and Bam moves to the 4. That's what every Heat fan wants. I don't know if I don't think that'll happen, and I don't want it to happen day one because, even though he balled out in the summer league, like he still needs some time to adjust. So, if we can have that by like 15th game or something, I think that's kind of fair. But as long as that's the future of the Heat, him at the 5, Bam at the 4, and hopefully Tyler can turn things around because Jimmy's still aging. I'd be really happy with that. Andrew, tell me a little bit about Alex Sarr, the number 2 pick. A lot of people had him going number 1. Granted, the Hawks did not want him. But he scored a total of 22 points this summer league in, I believe, 4 games. He went 9 of 47 shooting, which is not amazing. Now, also, he is a center, so that's kind of like, the volume shooting isn't going to be there, but also all your shots are close to the rim, so you should be making more of them. So he was pretty unimpressive, more unimpressive than Bronny, and Bronny got more hate. So tell me a little bit about Alex Sarr.
So Alex Sarr is a 7-1 big, and based off expectations of being one of the top picks in the draft, I think that he massively underperformed, especially against the competition. These are widely G League players, and even if I could relate this back to the Miami Heat, like going back to Jaime Jaquez playing in the summer league for leadership and just for, I guess, more reps. He was able to dominate, and obviously Alex Sarr hasn't played a game of NBA basketball, and they're in two completely different scenarios, but these are like G League players essentially like playing for their contract, and you'd like to see a little bit more, especially out of 4 games. And going 0 for 15 is just something that you don't want to see if you're like the Wizards drafting him and being like, oh, 0 for 15 isn't the greatest start in the world. But I also think that managing expectations is always a good thing. Like it's summer league, even a good performance isn't the end of the world. A bad performance isn't the end of the world. I think that no matter what, like he'll probably still be one of their best players in like day one. And the fact that people are overreacting to his over 15 performance is natural, but I don't think it's as big of a deal as some people are making it out to be. I think that it's concerning, but at this like the same time, I think that you can't call someone a bust just because he had one bad game in the summer league. I think that a lot of players have that, and I think that you just have to wait till the regular season for like to see what he's actually made of. But if I can relate back to the Miami Heat for a second, I think that Khalil Ware is a great draft pick, but I think that the same goes for him. He's playing widely G League players, and obviously I just didn't want to bash on Alex Sarr for the same thing. But at the same time, if you saw a lot of the boards he was getting, if you saw a lot of the points he was like scoring, it was a lot of at the rim stuff, rebounding against players that are significantly shorter than him and much smaller bodies than him. Those are not specifically NBA players, and I think that's why weathering expectations is always a good thing. I don't think he's a day one starter right now, but I think that he could develop into it. And like you said, I think that every Miami Heat fan would love to see him play alongside Bam at the 5 and Bam at the 4. It'd be amazing because we do need like being out rebounded is like one of the biggest things that the Miami Heat have to work on in general, and rim protection. Having a second defender who can Bam can play, he can guard 1 through 5.
Yeah.
So if Bam doesn't have to be a rim protector, and if he doesn't have to exert so much energy on the defensive end. I can only imagine how good he's going to be on offense. So in general, having the Khalil Ware backup option, and even Nikola Jovic being able to develop and having being able to develop and be part of a solid part of the rotation, maybe getting him into the rotation as well next season, that could be a very dangerous Miami Heat team. And I think Khalil Ware is an amazing signing, but at the same time, it's summer league, so I am going to hold my horses a little bit. But I loved, like, he couldn't have had a better summer league. It's just
Right.
that if you literally look at his teammate Jaime Jaquez Jr. in the summer league, it's not NBA players. Jaime Jaquez wasn't averaging 24 points a game in the NBA. He's a solid rotational player, but a solid rotational player would kill any of the players in the summer league. So again, managing expectations, but I think you hit the nail on the head where if like by the 15th game he's starting alongside Bam, that would be a Miami Heat fan's dream.
Yeah. I like that you kept that fair. You bashed on Sarr a little bit, but then you like kept it even with Ware and Sarr. I don't think that it's too much to freak out about if you're one of the 5 Wizards fans. They did sign Valanciunas, who I'm a big fan of that signing. And so granted he's the number 2 pick, but it's also a weaker draft class. I think like one of the few players that have a chance of starting day one is Reed Shepherd of the Houston Rockets, but they also have a crowded guard room. So, if Sarr isn't starting day one, then I don't think that's an issue at all. He may need some time to adjust. So before the last thing we're going to talk about, Patrick, is Tristan da Silva. Tell me a little bit about him and his summer league performance.
Yeah, so we're talking about Ware a lot today, but ESPN did just come out with a list of kind of like the best rookie performances in summer league, and De Silva was second. He played 3 games, averaged about 18 points per game, shot really well, 59%, I believe, a ridiculous number from three, like 60% from the field. So he was really good in this summer league. The Magic are looking to add scoring. That was like their biggest thing. I mean, they could use like a classic point guard, but they drafted De Silva, 4-year guy out of Colorado. They want him to play right now, and he was absolutely like the highlight of the Orlando Magic Summer League, and he was ranked, obviously, like I said, the second best player. So he was really good. I believe he was fifth in points for among rookies in the summer league. Obviously, can't compete with Jaime Jaquez if he's going to score 24 points per game, and any of the other guys who scored a ridiculous amount through a couple games. But he showed out. He played really well. That is something that I want to watch. I don't know if he's going to be a day one starter because, right now, obviously with the forwards on the Magic, it's already pretty crowded. You're going to end up paying both those guys probably, or you're definitely going to pay them both max contracts. But I would say somewhere around, like $400+ million between them. They're going to have contracts worth that. So he might not start immediately, but he's going to be like maybe the first or second guy off the bench alongside Cole Anthony. And he looked like an NBA player. And, I just felt like his game was just really, really intelligent, really smart, and just one of those guys that you could just tell when he's on the court, like, oh, he's going to be, playing minutes in the NBA. And honestly, almost you're saying to yourself, okay, I've seen enough of him in summer league. Get him out of here so he doesn't get hurt. Kind of vibe. So.
Yeah, I hate to see it and hear it as a Heat fan if you guys haven't known. But the Magic are making some good moves. KCP was a good free agent signing, and De Silva looks like it's gonna pan out to be good. Yeah, it was a really interesting summer league. And again, thank you guys for coming on. And next segment, we will be talking about the Olympics, so don't go anywhere.
Jack, buddy. Why are you here? I don't really understand why I'm here. I got called a delusional fan. I just don't understand why I'm delusional if I think Kirk Cousins had the best mustache in the league.
Well, Jack, buddy, I don't want to be the one to tell you this, but I don't think anybody looks cool in handlebars.
But they're back, man. They're back.
They're not. They're not. Sometimes you just got to face the hard truth. It's right there in front of you. All these people, they're calling you delusional, but sometimes you got to worry about, am I projecting? Is it me? And in this
Let me
case,
tell you something, bud. It could never be me. Anything I say is factual and truth, and that's why the Vikings are going 16-1 this year.
Organization, you have to look at your roster and say, I've had Kirk O'Duggins for 6 years. Maybe it's time to move on.
There is no moving on from Kirk Thuggins and Justin Jefferson.
Do you think that maybe this all started just because of a little disappointment?
Nothing has started. This is how I live, and I am not delusional.
Welcome back. We are going to be continuing talking about basketball from last segment a little bit, summer league championships. Basketball is also a sport in the Olympics, but we'll get to that a little bit later. I'm joined by Daniel Valdez and Anya Gary Bashfully. This is the season finale of Off-Season, as you already know. So this is going to be our last time seeing each other for the next month until we get back in person. How would you guys say your summer has been so far? Daniel, you first.
It's been going pretty well, doing a couple of classes, doing a couple of things here and there, but it's been pretty good for me. And of course, appearing on Hitting the Field Off-Season from time to time.
Absolutely. How about you, Anya?
This summer has flown by for me.
Yes.
I recently started a new job, so that's been keeping me updated, or not updated, keeping me up to date with things. And I have enjoyed a few appearances here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been super fun, but the fun is just getting started because the Olympics are starting tonight. Opening ceremonies are tonight. I've been waiting for this for 2 years, since the Winter Olympics, and I just love the Olympics. I mean, really, who doesn't? But Anya, we're gonna get started with you. I believe you're talking about track specifically. Tell me a little bit about what we should look out for?
Yes, so there is a lot happening for Team USA, for their track and field team specifically. We are competing in events such as the men's and women's 100-meter dash in the 4x100s for both. We have our field events as well, like long jump, triple jump, shot put, discus, and hammer throw. And it seems like we have a pretty well-rounded team specifically, or we have a pretty well-rounded team in general. But there are a couple athletes I do want to highlight, mainly being Sha'Carri Richardson. She had a bit of, not a scandal, but unfortunately she was barred from the last Olympics because she did test positive for THC on the drug test, which caused some drama with the Winter Olympics, considering the fact that Kamila Valieva did test positive for performance-enhancing drugs later on from Russia. But she's back this year, and she is back better than ever. She basically has reinvented herself. Her personal best for the 100-meter dash, which is what she's competing in, is 10.65 seconds. And that's her personal best from 2023. Her personal best for 2024 is 10.7 currently, but she is ranked #1 in the world right now, which is huge news considering there is a huge beef between Jamaican runners and US runners. So they're always neck and neck, and it is entertaining to watch. Running isn't really a sport most people watch, but this is entertainment. And the other athlete I want to talk about is Noelle Malkamaki. She is competing in shot put, and she has broken her own world record. I can't find the stats on it right now, but I'm sure we can pull something up. And it's incredible to see how much talent we have on this team for a sport that a lot of people compete in, but not a lot of people watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And the women's races will certainly be entertaining. Do you think so? Richardson is 24 years old heading into this Olympics. How does she stack up against Allison Felix, who we may or may not see next segment? You know, Richardson might have a couple more Olympics in her, hopefully. You know, it's every 4 years, so probably only two more max, but hopefully she can do a lot this Olympics. How does she stack up?
I think I'd have to say she is her own type of athlete. I have personally never seen on the track somebody like Sha'Carri Richardson with so much sass, but at the same time, like the skills to back it up, the raw talent for it. So I genuinely think I can compare the two. I can't.
I think that's a good answer. Yeah. And then on the men's side, we do also have Noah Lyles will be competing. And then also the record-setting youngest track athlete ever, Quincy Wilson. He did qualify. He will be participating in the 4x400 meter. Now, I can't remember if this guy is still in high school or college. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I
He's
remember
still in
what.
high school.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I remember watching the qualifiers and I was just blown away. But yeah, thank you for telling us about track. Daniel, tell us about volleyball, one of the more entertaining events to watch, right on the beach.
Yeah, there's actually two kind of volleyballs that are happening this Olympics. There's beach and then there's indoor volleyball. The one I'm talking about is much more indoor. The United States is competing in this. We're in Pool C alongside with Japan, Germany, and Argentina. The last gold medal champion of this was France, who won it back in 2020 during that whole 2020 COVID year. But
Yeah.
yeah, they are returning, playing in Pool A against Serbia, Slovenia, and Canada. And of course, it's Pool B with Italy, Brazil, Poland, and Egypt. It should seem like it should be a very fun game. Volleyball is usually always fun to watch, always also quick as well. It'll start on July 27th. Surprisingly enough, Poland has the best odds of winning it so far, which kind of shocked me looking it up. Yeah. And something interesting also about this Olympics is that there's actually a brand new sport coming to the Olympics. It's called breaking. It's basically breakdancing. Kind of surprising that they'll be just like kind of like a DJ that's been doing music, and these athletes will be having to do like their own freestyle, trying to score as many points from the judges based on like what kind of moves they do and how good it goes with the music. So that should be really interesting to see how that plays out and see if that can be implemented in future Olympics. Something else interesting I mentioned a few days ago, that was reported a few days ago, is that Snoop Dogg's gonna be the torchbearer for this Paris Olympics. So
Okay.
gotta love Snoop Dogg. You gotta love his music. So kind of surprised to see him being in part of this, but that should also be fun. And great star Katie Laddick is back in this Olympics. That she currently leads the entirety of the U.S. in medals. That she has won 10 medals, 7 of which are gold, from what I saw online. But
Mm-hmm.
so she should be helping leading the charge for the U.S. and hopefully we can win some more medals.
Absolutely. Yeah, I swimming is one of my top 5 favorite events to watch at the Olympics, swimming and diving. Obviously, we will not be seeing Michael Phelps this year as he is retired, all-time great at the Olympics. But, Katie Ledecky is still pushing and plenty of other athletes. I can't wait to watch that. Now, Anya, kind of speaking of swimming a little bit, before I get to my sport that I'm going to highlight, tell us a little bit about the drama in the Sen. I heard all about this on TikTok. I know what it's about, but tell us.
Yeah, so this was all over TikTok. So if you saw anything from the Olympics or anything Olympics adjacent, you've probably been caught up with it as well. But for those who aren't aware, the River Seine runs through the city of Paris, and instead of creating an Olympic village for these Olympics, Paris has decided to transform the entire city for it. So part of the River Seine is going to be swam in for the triathlon, I believe, for both men's and women's triathlons. The drama that surrounds it is for the longest time, the River Seine, it has been illegal to swim in it because of very unhealthy, unsafe levels of bacteria like E. coli, because all the sewage from the city of Paris goes into that river. And the drama was that some Parisians weren't happy that it was getting cleaned up just for the Olympics, so they had a bit of a protest.
Yeah. Well, and what is it, the prime minister or who said
It
that
was
she was going to
the,
swim
I
in it?
believe it was the mayor of Paris.
Yeah. She said that because of all the protests, she was going to swim in the sun before the Olympics.
She
Now,
did.
she
She
did.
did.
I didn't stay up to date with it.
She did swim in it, and she said that the water was swimmable. Not that it was healthy, not that it was safe, that
Okay.
it was swimmable.
I'd be kind of upset if I went through all this trouble the last 4 years to be qualifying for it, and I have a risk of
Hmm.
contracting a disease. I'd be quite upset.
Yes.
But that was certainly entertaining to hear about. And now we're gonna move on back to basketball from segment one. Um, it's my second favorite sport to watch, and Olympic basketball is just on a different level. You have the best player in the world, in my opinion, Nikola Jokic. He's the best player in the world in the NBA, and he's not playing for Team USA because he's not American. But so you just have that different aspect, like you have a super team in like the Boston Celtics who won the NBA Finals this year, but that's not even going to compare to the talent at the Olympics. Um, and I simply can't wait. This team is stacked. You obviously have LeBron, who will be carrying the flag for he will be the men's representative carrying a flag for Team USA. And it was also announced 2 days ago that Coco Gauff will be carrying it for representing the women. So that's amazing. But some of the other players on Team USA this year is Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, my favorite player, Bam Adebayo, Jason Tatum, the finals winner. It's just a stacked team, head coached by Steve Kerr and assistants Eric Spoelstra and Tyronn Lue. This team in 2020 in Tokyo, they won gold. In 2016 in Rio, they won gold. And 2012 and 2008, like all these years, they've won gold because they just dominate. But I don't know. They had a scary game in the qualifiers against South Sudan. They were down at halftime and they were 48-point favorites. Like that's not usual for a team with this much star potential. And so it'll be fun to watch. I believe that kicks off tonight, maybe tomorrow. But again, I'm very excited to watch that. And that's kind of it for this segment. This is the season finale of off season, so we will be missing the entire Olympics. But when we come back in the fall, better believe we will be doing a recap of the Olympics We can't wait. We hope you all watch. We hope you enjoyed watching this segment and off season all summer. We still have one more segment, but thank you guys for coming on. Have a great rest of your summers, and we'll see you in about a month.
So, Tyler Brownrigg. It says in my notes you're an Oklahoma fan.
That is correct.
So, let me ask you, bud. Is Texas back?
All right, I put on a brave face a lot, but this year, I'm really scared that they are, man. Okay, they just beat Alabama. They're gonna be top 4 in the rankings. And last year, they beat us 48-0.
Yeah.
It was humiliating. We're the Oklahoma Sooners. We were the best ever. We were talk of the town. We had Baker, Kyler, and Jalen 3 years in a row. And now, are we good? I don't know. We haven't won a national title since 2000. We're number 18, I think, and nothing matters, dude.
Sometimes we build up these walls thinking they're impenetrable. But sometimes you have to knock these walls down to build up bigger and stronger ones. And you got to be tough through that. It's hard being an Oklahoma fan at this time, but grass is always going to be greener on the other side of the hill, buddy.
Is it? I cannot live through a Texas national championship. I can't. I'll never recover.
Do you want to talk about Lincoln Riley?
What'd you just say to me?
I just want to know if you want to talk about Lincoln Riley.
And we're back. Final segment of the final show of the summer. I'm joined by Frankie Noble and Ben Huber. We're going to play some dudes naming dudes. Now, obviously, Frankie, you're not a dude. Honorary for today, okay? You can still play. You can still crush it. And this is going to be Olympic edition, obviously. I mean, opening ceremonies are tonight. As I mentioned last segment, been waiting for this for 2 years. Super exciting. And how are you guys doing so far, though? How has your summer been? Ben, we'll start with you.
Great summer, honestly. I've been having a blast, just hanging out, enjoying the hot summer in Florida. Very nice.
Been on college football yet?
Oh yeah, I've been playing it nonstop.
Good.
Probably way too addicted already.
I'm so jealous. Frankie, how about you?
I've been good. I've not been playing college football.
That's fair.
I didn't even know that was a thing until like yesterday.
Okay.
But the Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup, so I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, in case you missed it, in case you've been living under a rock or in Boston or something, Florida won. And so we're gonna get started with this game. We do have 13 athletes, okay? So it's an uneven number. Therefore, if everyone gets guessed, someone will win. I did it strategically like that. So we have 13, and just simply first to say it wins that point, okay? So we're gonna get started. All right, so starting off with our first one, does anyone know who this is? It's okay if you don't. It's not necessarily the most popular sport, but she's one of the greats.
You got that, Frankie?
I saw a name online next to the name Olympics. And like a bunch of people are talking about this name. I literally don't know if it is a man or a woman, but I just know a lot of people have been talking about this person. And he said, really great. Is it like something?
No, I know who you're talking about. It's not her though.
Yeah, it's not. All right. Just throw out a guess. You know what? She's again one of the greats. This is, I believe, her first Olympics that she's not competing in over the last like 20 years or something.
Oh, so she's not competing, so it's not that bad that we didn't get it.
That doesn't
I guess
count.
not. But like, I mean, if you grew up watching the Olympics, you might know. But if you didn't, then obviously you don't. But all right, so I'll give you guys 10 more seconds. Any
Layla.
guesses?
Layla.
Ooh, so close. It's actually
Is it Frankie
not.
Noble?
It's Allison Felix.
Okay, not me.
Yeah, I mean, not much else I can say about her without pulling up her stats. She's just one of the best track athletes USA's ever had. So moving on, anyone know?
I know.
Okay,
Gabby
say it.
Douglas. Gabby Douglas.
Yes. All right, 1 point for Frankie. I feel like Gabby gets slept on a little bit, forgotten about because of one of the newcomers that you may or may not see later.
She was in an episode of Kickin' It on Disney XD.
Oh,
Wasn't she
you're
also
right.
on Jessie? Wasn't she? Or am I completely wrong? But I
No,
remember her being on one of those shows.
She's a Disney star,
She
Gabby
is
Douglas.
really like Zendaya who. All right, so next.
Michael Jordan.
All right, 1 point, Ben. That is Michael Jordan. From the Dream Team. Now onto the third person. Okay.
Katie
Don't-
Ledecky.
Katie Ledecky, yeah. You don't need to raise your hand. It's just shout it out. That is Katie Ledecky. She's okay. How am I gonna word this? She has the most medals among active Olympians right now, and she's returning. So, pretty impressive stuff.
Michael
Michael
Phelps.
Ooh, I don't know.
Give it to Ben.
Oh, that's very humble. You know what? I'm gonna call it a tie actually for now.
0.5.
Yeah. So that's Michael Phelps. We all know and love him. Who's this?
Sha'Carri Richardson.
Yes. All right. So that is Sha'Carri Richardson. Okay, did you know this or did you look at my poorly blurred out name?
No, I knew it and then I saw that after.
Okay, good.
So I was right with the sport.
Yes.
Yeah, you were.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. And as Anya talked about last segment, she was unable to compete in the last Olympics due to some issues, but she's back this year. And so Ben, I believe you're up 2-1 plus the tie or whatever, right?
Half.
Okay.
No, I did Gabby Douglas and Katie Ledecky.
You're completely right. I'm sorry. At least you guys are keeping track. So it's a tie game, 2-2, right?
2.5 to 2.5.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay, who's this?
No Lyles.
Yes.
You can see his name.
Okay,
Well,
Blake, I didn't
should
see
have
that.
blurred that. I should have blurred that. Famously said that, if you win the NBA championship, you
World
are
champions of
champions.
what?
Like, come on.
I've never heard that quote.
Ryan Lochte?
Yes, it is.
Oh, absolute bro right there.
Yeah,
Wasn't he on Dancing with the Stars?
I believe he
Was he?
was. Yes.
Legend.
World's
Yeah,
most famous
well, we
frat
should have
bro.
gotten him. So it is 2.5.
He's a real student athlete.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Who's this?
Simone Biles.
Frankie said it louder and probably quicker.
Definitely.
So it's 3.5 to 4.
Need to catch up.
Yeah.
LeBron James.
Yes. All right. So Ben did get that. It is 3.5 to 5.5 now.
I said the full name though.
Shout out Lapuki.
Ooh, you got a good point. He is gonna be representing the men in this year's Olympics for Team USA, holding the flag. So
Nice.
congrats to him on top of all of his other achievements, as if he needed something else, But next.
It's his biggest accomplishment.
Oh my gosh, I know who this is.
Is that Coco Gauff?
Yeah.
It is Coco Gauff, South Florida native. She will be representing the women this year for Team USA, holding the flag. So congrats to her, of course. And so what do you guys have now? Is that 4.5 to 6.5, or am I completely wrong?
I think it's tied 4.5, right?
Could be. You know what? We'll just I'll trust you guys. Who's this?
Oh my gosh. Didn't she sedate Darren Waller? Right,
I'm not sure, but I do know that she held the flag a couple Olympics ago.
Is that Kelsey Plum?
It's not.
Oh, okay.
Keep trying. Shout out some
Julie.
Julie. No. Just keep going.
Candace Parker?
No. Nope. You'll get there.
Mary,
no.
Mary.
Just keep
Cameron Brink.
Nope.
Haley Cavender.
Nope.
Caitlin Clark.
Oh, that one's close. I'm gonna throw the wild card and say Angel Reese here.
Nope.
This is horrible, dude. Really
right.
bad.
Sue Bird.
Yes.
Actually, let's go.
Nice job. All right, so I think Ben has the lead right now. Couple more. Who is this? Actually, this is the last one and the
Drake
most
May.
difficult one.
May.
Something May. Nope. Need to get both of them. It's double points.
Is
Remember,
this beach
Ben's in the
volleyball?
lead, Frankie.
Cooked.
This is beach volleyball. It's slightly more difficult because, again, there's two, and I don't really give you anything except for part of the last name. But these are the two most famous USA volleyball players.
Anime.
I remember them specifically in the London Olympics. They went off.
Anime.
No. But I
April,
won't
May.
judge you guys if you don't get this because it is difficult.
Wait, Ben, what did you say?
Said April, May.
That's-
Is the other one June, July?
No. Okay, so
That was a really good guess.
so the last name of the one you can't see, her last name is Jennings.
Ken.
They both have like three names. So it's the first name and then two last names, hyphenated. Did you say Ken Jennings? It starts with the same letter.
Katie Jennings.
Nope.
Kaylee Jennings?
Nope.
Caitlin Jennings.
No. All right, so I'm gonna call that
Yeah.
there. You guys didn't get this one, but Ben did have the most
took
points.
too
So
long.
congrats, Ben. This is Misty May Trainer and Carrie Walsh Jennings.
Oh.
You've heard their names. It's six names to remember, so I don't blame you really.
You
Yeah.
can't even see their face, too.
Yeah, well,
that
okay.
was tough.
So I needed to find a picture that would like fit, and that was the only one.
Makes
So
sense.
I think that was pretty fun. Again, congrats, Ben. We'll be back in the fall for more
Thank
Dudes
you.
and Dudes, and we'll be back
for
in the
sure.
fall to recap the Olympics, as I mentioned last segment. Thank you guys for coming on. And thank you all for watching. Again, we'll see you in a month. And as always, go Knights, charge on.